Imagine being a farmer in America. You wake up before sunrise, work 12-14 hours a day in the fields, planting, watering, harvesting. You pour everything you have into the soil, your money, your sweat, even your hopes for your children's future. But at the end of the season, when the crops are finally ready, you realize something devastating. The world's biggest buyer of your product doesn't want it anymore. This is not just a sad story, it's the reality for hundreds of soybean farmers in America. And the reason is a mix of tariffs, global trade wars, and shifting alliances that have turned agriculture, once a symbol of stability, into a battlefield of economics and politics. Today, we're diving into how American farmers lost their biggest customer, China. To understand this crisis, we need to look at the numbers. The United States produces about 40% more agricultural products than it can consume domestically. That means one crucial fact: American farmers survive only because of exports. And at the center of these exports? Soybeans. Soybeans are everywhere in cooking oil, animal feed, biodiesel, and even in products like chocolate, cosmetics, and medicines. But here's the kicker: 1 in every 4 rows of soybeans grown in America is meant for China. China isn't just any buyer, it is the largest importer of soybeans in the world, accounting for about 61% of global demand. In 2017, America exported around 12 to 14 billion worth of soybeans to China. That's billions of dollars flowing into rural America, supporting families, communities, and small towns. But then, suddenly the number dropped to 0. Yes, 0. No soybeans, no new crop corn, nothing. So how did we go from $12 billion to 0? The answer lies in the tariff wars. When the U.S. imposed tariffs on Chinese goods during Trump's presidency, China retaliated by stopping the purchase of American soybeans. But here's the twist: China didn't just stop buying, they found new suppliers. They turned to Brazil, which quickly became their #1 source of soybeans. They invested billions of dollars into Brazilian infrastructure, railways, ports, storage facilities, making sure that soybeans from South America could reach Chinese markets faster and cheaper. And they didn't stop there. China expanded into Africa through its Belt and Road Initiative, building farms and infrastructure to secure even more agricultural supply. What does this mean for America? A lost market share. Even if the U.S. somehow won back every soybean deal in the world, except for Brazil and Argentina, American farmers would still have only half of China's business. That's the power of global realignment. Once a customer finds a new supplier, it's almost impossible to win them back. Let's step into the shoes of a farmer in Arkansas. You plant soybeans on your land, and you look at the current market price, around $10.28 per bushel. Sounds good, right? But wait, there's a basis deduction of 40 cents because local elevators need to protect their hedges. Add the trucking cost, another 50 to 60 cents just to haul the crop to the Mississippi River for shipping. By the time the math is done, you're left with about $9 per bushel. And here's the heartbreak. Purdue University calculates that it costs $12.03 to produce a bushel of soybeans. That means every bushel sold is a loss of $3. Now multiply that loss by hundreds or even thousands of acres, and you can see the disaster unfolding. For small farmers with old paid-off equipment, like Scott Brown in Arkansas, survival is barely possible. But for large-scale farmers with thousands of acres, million-dollar combines, workers on payroll, and high-interest crop loans breaking, even is almost impossible. In fact, under current prices, cotton farmers lose $375 per acre, corn farmers lose $220 per acre, soybean farmers lose $120 per acre. That's not just a small dip, it's a complete collapse of profitability. Now some might say, didn't Trump provide subsidies last time to help farmers during the tariff war? Yes, he did. Billions of dollars to agriculture to keep farmers afloat. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Handouts don't solve the real problem. You can give $150 or $200 per acre today, but what about next year? Farmers will plant another crop, face the same production costs, and end up in the same crisis. The core issue isn't subsidies. The core issue is markets. Without overseas buyers, without reliable trade partners, American agriculture becomes unsustainable. And let's be real, farming isn't just a business, it's a way of life. It supports entire communities, schools, local stores, gas stations, banks. When farmers go bankrupt, small towns collapse with them. Politically, this is tearing communities apart. Many farmers supported Trump, believing his tough stance on China would pay off in the long run. Some still believe, saying, you have to trust him, but others are beginning to question, how much more can we lose? At farm shows, at town halls, the conversation is changing. Farmers who once cheered tariffs are now openly frustrated. They don't want subsidies. They want fair trade, access to markets, and stability for the future. The truth is, this isn't just about soybeans or corn. It's about the bigger picture. Can America remain a global agricultural leader? Or will trade wars permanently shift the balance of power to countries like Brazil, Argentina, and China-backed African nations? What does this mean for the future? If America doesn't secure overseas markets, if it doesn't rebuild trade relationships, and if it doesn't protect its farmers beyond short-term subsidies, then every planting season will be a gamble one where the odds are stacked against the very people who feed the nation. Farmers are resilient. They've survived droughts, floods, pests, and economic downturns. But no amount of hard work can overcome a broken market. And unless something changes, the American farmer might soon be farming memories instead of crops.